Hello, I'm Crystal Davis. I'm from Borderless. I am a writer and a travel coach for entrepreneurs, but at the heart of everything I do is writing, and it's something that I talk about all day, every day, because people come to me asking me questions about how to publish their book, which is something I've done, how to write articles to drive traffic to their websites, which is something that I've done. I've had articles go super, super viral. I write poetry. I've exhibited poetry in several countries, including Italy last year, which was amazing. And everything I do seems to be centered around communication and writing. And because of that, I constantly hear the same things come up for people. I haven't met a person yet who doesn't, on some level, want to write a book. And part of that, I think, is the just sheer sacredness of putting out the words or your experience or your slant on an experience, or just sharing with the world in a really kind of seemingly permanent way. And having that connection with other people. But the things that come up really commonly I wanted to talk about today, because it just might help you. These are the things, I have these on Post-it notes around my room, because all of us, anybody who's taking a brave enough step to not only record your personal feelings on any given subject, but then thinking about or being called to share that with the rest of the world, it's a massive thing. In my personal opinion, it's one of the biggest things that you can possibly do in your lifetime, is permanently put your words on paper and share them with the world, and have them available for other people who might resonate with them. So the first massive thing that people tend to say to me, the first big objection to writing a book is, well, it's already been said. So the subject that you're passionate about, or the subject of your book, or you feel like it's already been said. Everybody said everything already, so why would they listen to you? And I want you to think about this for a second, because imagine everybody who's watching this, say there's 100 of us right now, and we're all sitting in a circle in the same room together, and I hand around a piece of paper that has one sentence on it. It can be any sentence. Let's say the sentence is, I like her dress. Just that simple. I like her dress. Everybody's got the piece of paper. And I say to you, okay, I want you to really think about this piece of paper. See the dress in your head. See the woman in your head. Like have the vision in your mind. And when it comes your turn to speak, I want you to say the sentence attached to that vision for you. So every one of these 100 people is sitting in the circle. They've got their thing, and it comes to your turn, and you read it out. So some people are saying, I like her dress. Some people are going, oh, I like her dress. You might say, I like her dress. I like her dress. Like, there's so many ways that it can be said, depending on your interpretation of the words and the subject matter. So there's 100 of us sitting here. Every single person says it a different way. Maybe there's a similar inflection, or people have a similar, somewhat similar vision, and it comes out sort of the same. But the thing that's going to be different every single time is, no matter how many similarities there are, it's going to come out with the resonance of your physical voice. Nobody can match that. So every time it is said in that circle, it is completely different. And it's exactly the same when you're writing a book or an article or a sentence or a haiku or anything. You could write on the exact same subject. In fact, it happens all the time. There's competitions all over the world, and they say, well, the subject is grief, so write poetry on grief. And everybody has a different slant on what grief is, their own experience with grief. It's just how it is. There is no possible way that what you're saying has been said. It's just not possible, because nobody is here in your body in this time and space having this human experience that you're having, and therefore have your voice. It just isn't possible. The other amazing thing about thinking about it like that is that when it gets said in the circle, so the 100 people are reading the paper out and saying, I like her dress, in the way that they're saying it, there'll be someone in that circle who goes, wow, I really get the way you just said that. So it's the same when you're putting any kind of word, publishing any kind of word in the world, because there will be someone that goes, I never thought about it like that, or I really needed to hear that today, or that has literally been the thing that shifted me from this place to this place, and I really needed to get to this place. And then there's going to be people going, I don't get what you're saying at all. same sentence, they've got it in front of them, but they don't get what you're saying. And that is the true power of the written word and the word that is expressed in your particular voice. So I see all the time that people write, this is how to deal with thinking that it's already been said, is that it's never been said by you, right? It's never been said by you. But you need to go deeper with that. It's never been said by you in this time and place, with your lens, with your life experience, with your way of looking at this particular subject matter. There's no way it's been said by you before. If you haven't said it, it has not been said. So please go ahead and say it. And also, if you haven't said it, the person who needs to hear it in your particular way hasn't heard it. So let's just blow that one out of the water. You are completely valid. The way that you say things is completely valid. The book that you are writing is not only valid, it is completely necessary and will never be said in the same way again by anybody. So if you don't publish it, it's not getting published. That's the truth of the matter. The other thing is, people say to me, well, I've got this subject that I'm really passionate on, but I'm not a writer. Or I'm dyslexic, so I'm not good at it, or I'm terrible with grammar. I don't know what a goddamn structure is. I can't write. I can't write. I'm not a writer. And let me just tell you something. You can hire someone for anything except the telling of the story. So you can hire an editor who will look at the flow of your story and put it into a reasonable order that makes sense to an audience and all of that kind of stuff. You can hire a proofreader who deals with your grammar and your punctuation and your spelling and all of that. You can hire a printer who makes the book physical. You can hire someone for everything except the story. And that's why, even though there's massive publishing houses all over the world who make millions and millions of dollars every year, that's why writers still exist. Because no matter what those publishing houses do, they're full of copywriters, proofreaders, printers, editors. All of those people have a job all day, every day, but they cannot tell the story. So they're still looking for authors constantly. They might take the story that an author's written and change it up to fit a particular audience, but they cannot tell the story. No matter how many people they employ, they can't make a story in their publishing house. So you are the person with the story. And if you're worried about the way that your grammar is, or whether your spelling's correct, or any of those kind of things, you can hire someone for that. You can pay someone for that. And if you can't afford to pay someone for that, I guarantee you somewhere in your life is a grammar Nazi who's always telling people how to put an apostrophe in the word your and all of that kind of stuff. So you can always find someone to do those things. You can never find someone to tell the story the way that you're going to tell it. Never, ever. So tell the story. Everything else is workoutable. The other thing that's awesome about writing your words, and which I hope gives you courage, because it gives me courage, is that when you're speaking, like me doing this video, right? I'm just talking to you. And yes, might I want to go back later and take out a few words, and do I want to cut it differently and stuff like that? Yeah, but do I always have that option? No. The thing with words, the written word, is it's always editable. It's always craftable. So you can sit there and you can do a massive brain dump. You could do it for months on end, and you always have the option of going back and refining your message and making sure it's really what you want to say in this context. It's always editable. You can change it into a completely different thing, but the point is the story is there and the rest you can work on. What else? Yeah, something that doesn't get talked about, but something that hits home really deeply for me, and it's really good timing, because my little brother today said to me, hey, do you know about the burning of the library at Alexandria? And I'm like, no, I love Egyptian history. I don't know about that. Anyway, the burning of the library at Alexandria we're talking the 3rd century BC. Like, this is an ancient story that really happened. I mean, there was an amazing library at Alexandria in Egypt. It was basically an incredible storehouse for scrolls and parchments and sacred texts from all over the world. And over a period of about 8 centuries, gradually, almost all of those sacred texts were burned through different different experiences, and historians have different opinions on the whole thing. However, he brought that up to me today, and I thought, that's really interesting. You know, that really strikes a chord with me. There's these incredible words that have been shared by these poets, philosophers, people reaching enlightenment, you know, these incredible texts. What I would give to read those texts right now today. But it's happened all through history in all kinds of countries. The Nazis burned a lot of books, any kind of takeover. It's basically about erasing culture. And so a lot of us have unrecognized trauma about that, about the fact that, well, if we put these words out there, someone can take them from us. So these sacred texts were not copies. They were original texts. They were the only copy that existed in the world for some of them. And once they were burned, they were gone. And that is a tragic, tragic thing. But we now live in an age where we have the internet. We publish ebooks. We can, you know, anything that you put on Facebook, even if you delete it, it lives somewhere out in the cloud, in this new dimension, you know, or this kind of simulation of a dimension where we store information now. So we're in a place and time where our words can permanently be heard, and nobody can take that away from us. And while on the one hand it means everything we've ever written is always going to be around, it also means that there is a semblance of safety, that we can be free to talk and to express and to share our stories and to even channel messages and share those with the world, things that need to be heard. And they can always be there for people to access forever. You know, it's a beautiful, wondrous thing. And I think it's worth looking at. Are we afraid they're going to be taken away from us? I think once you get even deeper than that, there is a sense of, well, this is a sacred experience, this writing of my book. It is very personal. It is a very spiritual thing in a lot of cases, where we're really getting in touch with the deepest part of ourselves. And so for that reason, I think it's really important not to just dismiss it as being just a book or just a piece of writing, or I'm just writing an article, or this is a fluff piece. You know, anything that you write comes from you, is a part of you, and is something that you're offering to the world. And I think that deserves to be honoured. But in summary, your story cannot be told by anyone but you. Hire the people to do the bits that you don't feel confident with, or that have to happen for it to be put into the world. And yes, I am advocating that if you want to put a book out, do get an editor, do have a look at getting a proofreader, and make sure it's formatted in a way that people can actually look at on their Kindle, and all of those practical things. But your story, the essence, the lifeblood of what you're going to publish, can only be done by you. No one else. Even if someone was there, even if you're writing an experience about an experience that you've had in your life and there were 10 other people in the room, those 10 people, like the sentence, would say it in a completely different way, view it in a completely different way, and process it in a completely different way if it was shared with them. So please, if I can give you any message today, have the courage to either start writing or put your book out into the world, or hire an editor, hire a copywriter, get yourself a coach, somebody who can encourage you to move through what is a really sacred experience. And big love. I can't wait to read everything that you're going to put into the world, because it can only be told by you. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but if I have to say it once more, it can only be told by you. I hope you heard it that time. Love. Bye.